not very good. The way they done the street wasn't right. They moved everybody around. Some people are getting more than others.
That's it for now. More in an hour.
News Talk Weather.
Thanks to the AA, you can find our best discounts on car insurance online. Go to the aa.ie.
Dry tonight with frost and icy patches, lows of 0 to 3 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The News Round on Off the Ball.
With Gillette, we don't just play the game, we change it. Gillette, made of what matters.
This is News Talk.
Hello there, you're welcome along to Wednesday's Off the Ball. It is Christmas Eve. We did it, people. We made it, we're almost there. Coming your way, Andy Mitten is at Goodison Park, Everton against Manchester United this evening. Team news just in, I'll bring it to you in a moment. Kick-off at 8 o'clock. At 8, Ronan O'Gara is on Wednesday Night Rugby. We'll be asking him to give us a Christmas message a la the Queen and giving him no preparation to do that. So, if nothing else, to watch his face will be worth sticking around for. Football show. Tim Vickery is going to reflect on 2020, as will Dan McDonald. Dan more so on the Irish situation, Tim on the international. 53106, the text number. We're at Off the Ball on Twitter. We'll also bring you some Tommy Welch as well. He was on OTBAM this morning. Some gold from him coming your way. We'll play that after Ron O'Gara, so sometime around 20 to 9 or so. Johnny Ward on the Newsround. Hello.
Hello, Joe. How are you keeping?
Very well. We have Jonathan Byrne as well. Jonathan, you're back.
Yes, back with a bang.
So, Johnny, what is the mood like? On the one hand, we have Christmas, and that is a welcome relief. On the other hand, this new variant business and all that comes with it, bit of a blow for people, to say the least.
Yeah, it's difficult, Joe. I'd certainly be thinking of people who have struggled through lockdown, particularly elderly people who kind of through no fault or no choice of their own really haven't been able to leave their house to much of an extent. But you can kind of get through something if there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light just seems to have been kind of toying with us a bit now. And that I really figured at this stage that we'd if not out the other side, we'd be nearly out the other side. And the news across Europe really in recent weeks has been very grim, and I've noticed, I suppose, Christmas is kind of like something that's putting people's minds off the impending sort of 2 months of lockdown, but Christmas isn't going to go on forever, unfortunately, but that's just how it is, I guess. And it's not even the Christmas we'd all hoped we would be having even a week ago, certainly 2 weeks ago. No, I was in Dublin City last night. I came down to Galway today, and there's a nice atmosphere in Galway, but it was very strange last night in Dublin. I met a couple of guys briefly for a beer, initially outdoors, and when we were indoors, there was this really strange feeling of unease, and we didn't really stay very long. I kind of went home, and it's just strange. All these things that we took for granted, like giving your dad a hug at Christmas if you're so inclined, or literally just shaking hands with someone you've met. Every time I watch TV now and I watch a show that's older than a year old or whatever, it just looks like you're watching something from the 1920s. Yes. There was a thing on Twitter yesterday of things we used to do that we couldn't imagine doing now. And one of them was bowling, as in we stick our fingers in the holes in the balls where everybody else is, and then we eat our food, and then we do the same again. And right now, the thought of that is impossible. I think just one thing that you're trying to look at the bright side of this, but like the stats that I saw today in relation to COVID-19 kind of sporting changes, I think the stats in Ireland were that cycling is up 75% this year and running is up 100%. Sea swimming is exponentially up. I was actually just in Salt Hill there earlier with about 15 others, all gone in for a dip in the sea, and I spoke to people in Portmarnock recently, and there was a fella telling me like this time last year there might have been 6 people here, and the day he was talking, I'd say as I looked around, there's 200 or 300 people there. So I think lockdown has definitely been very beneficial in many ways, and we probably shouldn't lose sight of that as well. You've got into the sea swimming this year, or were you always into it? I'd have kind of gone in little bits and bobs over the last few years, and probably was with a group of mates that like swimming, but the older I get, the more I believe that nature kind of and natural things are basically the answer to everything. And I think the benefits not only to your body, which wouldn't be immediately apparent when you're shivering, you're shivering afterwards, but the mind afterwards. It's hard to explain. And the colder the water, the better you feel after it. And I've spoken to people who do it regularly and they really vouch for it. And I've had some amazing experiences just sea swimming this year. And I think two things. One is that you really fall into conversation with strangers so readily when people are sea swimming, that it's just a beautiful atmosphere, and somebody might give you a cup of hot tea afterwards, or in the case today cup of hot whiskey. But the other thing is, I really think that the state should look into providing hot showers at all these facilities all over Ireland, where just to encourage people to sea swim and to encourage them to do it nearly all year round. Solar powered hot showers, for example, it would encourage people to do it more so if you can heat yourself up afterwards, because the benefits are enormous, and I can't speak highly enough for the whole experience of it.
Frankly, I would take it if they could somehow stop Dublin swimming areas being closed due to pollution anytime it rains for 2 days straight. That'd be a start.
Yeah, that's the thing. We take it a bit for granted, clean water, and it's not necessarily always there in Dublin. But the water in Salt Hill today, and the sun was kind of just coming in, and people were probably walking along the boardwalk or in Salt Hill, looking at us and thinking these guys are off the rocker. But it's actually become quite normal now. People just do it, and it'll be interesting to see if they kick on into February and March when it gets proper cold.
I suspect they will. Have you ever seen that documentary Vitamin C, as in SEAC?
I haven't, although I've seen Richie Sadlier use it as a hashtag on Instagram a lot to extol his own swimming.
Check it out. I'm sure it's knocking around. You might find it on YouTube. It will be right up your street. Beautifully shot. And it's about swimmers in Ireland, and all for a variety of reasons, all going through different things, swimming for different reasons. And it's beautifully done. Yeah, I did one little thing for Swim Ireland there earlier this year. I think it was in maybe September, October, where they were doing some sort of a shoot up in Wicklow. Now, I didn't know Wicklow town at all, but I went for the sunrise at Wicklow, and in Wicklow town that morning, first of all, I didn't realise how stunning the beach was, and there's kind of ruins of an old Anglo-Norman castle just overlooking the beach. It's really one of the most stunning beaches I've ever seen. You never hear anyone talk about, oh, Wicklow is amazing, but I thought it was amazing that morning. But the half an hour, the hour I was there, I met 3 people independently that I knew, just completely randomly, who happened to be sea swimming in Wicklow, and it was just this beautiful atmosphere, and elderly people were there, getting their morning swim in, and everyone just better for it, So before we kick off with the news round, Johnny, give me your 2 or 3 sporting moments of 2020. Okay. The first one is Jordan Flores' goal for Dundalk against Shamrock Rovers. I had to look up the date, Joe. This was in, have I lost the date now? It was in February, wasn't it? February 28th. It seems like it was about 3 years ago at this stage, what with the year we've had. But I'm just looking at it here. RT's initial tweet of it has 5.3 million views. So whatever that did for the League of Ireland, and the quality of the strike and the atmosphere at the game that night in Tala, it probably was the best advertisement I think you could ever get for the League of Ireland. The best 2 teams in the country playing really good football, and Jordan Flores getting a goal that certainly put the League of Ireland on the map. The second one I'm actually going to give is a little horse called Skeptical, who was bought last year for less than $3,000. He was bred by Godolphin, Sheikh Mohammed's all-powerful operation, but he had a bit of an issue, so he went to the sales. He was bought by small Irish connections, essentially, and within a few months he'd become the fastest sprinter in Ireland and one of the fastest in Europe. It was a complete rags to riches story. It ended sadly when he got injured on the gallops, but it was an amazing rags to riches story in racing, of which you don't really get many on the flat. And probably my third highlight would have to be, I think, Limerick hurlers. I thought they were absolutely sensational winning the All-Ireland. When you say Skeptical had issues, health issues, was it? I think he had a problem with his wind. So you get a lot of horses have physical issues that would, he was bred, he had a very nice pedigree. He was really, really fast pedigree, and he was bred to be a very good horse, and would, in theory, have been a very good horse for Godolphin. But they just sent him to the sales because I think they obviously thought that his wind would basically restrict him from achieving anything. But the James Macaulay and Jim Goff, who bought the horse, they have this kind of scattergun approach where they'll go to the sales, they look for a horse with a good pedigree and or proven ability in the past that has developed an issue,
issue. And often at the sales, if a whisper goes around that this horse has an issue, nobody wants to buy him. So you'll end up just buying a horse for a song, and sometimes it pays off. And skeptical, it's kind of it really sums up racing in some respects. The highs of what he achieved, and then the fact that he sadly was fatally injured within a few months of really hitting the top. But the actual story of skeptical was sensational for racing, I think.
Okay. So before we get into the news round with Jonathan, I should mention our competition because it's good this evening. €1,000 as we head to Christmas. That's what's up for grabs here. All this week, as you'll know, I'm sure we've been giving away One For All vouchers. One For All card, the perfect last-minute gifting option this Christmas, available in post offices nationwide, right up until closing time, which is 1 o'clock on Christmas Eve. So tonight, we're giving away a €1,000 One For All voucher. To be you in the chance of winning, just identify your mystery voice. He does not want any advice, anyone chipping in with advice on how he's cooking his Christmas turkey this year.
I do it my way, and I think that's the only way I can do it.
He's dead right too. I
do it my way, and I think that's the only way I can do it.
Text your name and answer to 53106. We will call you back after the show if you're the lucky winner. So €1,000 One For All voucher. Now the news round on Off the Ball and News Talk is with thanks to Gillette. We don't just play the game, we change it. Gillette, made of what matters. Jonathan Byrne, you're starting with this news from the world of rugby. So the Pro 14, Pro 16 has changed.
Yes, Guinness Pro 14 stakeholders have reached an agreement with South African Rugby Union for a new tournament to take place. The Rainbow Cup will consist of the 4 South African super teams and the current Pro 14 sides. The current plan is for the Guinness Pro 14 season to finish in March along with its finals to allow the new cup to start in April. In statements, both the Pro 14 and the South African Rugby Union have praised the timing of the competition because, as we know, later this year, the British and Irish Lions tests will take place in South Africa.
We'll chat to Ronan about this after 8 o'clock. It's obviously big news. It's been coming for a long time. I think talks started in September, serious talks, and it's been often mooted long before that. So the Lions, the Stormers, the Sharks, the Bulls, we'll get a good feel from Ronan about how they compare to the likes of Leinster and Munster and Connacht and Ulster. Ronan obviously would have come up against them in his time with the Crusaders. So each South African team is going to play 3 away games in Europe in blocks, so they'll come over for maybe 2.5 weeks or so. European teams will play 1 away game in South Africa. That's how it's going to work. And this is all heading towards a permanent situation for the 21-22 season. So we'll get into that after 8 o'clock with Ronan O'Gara. Now, Carabao Cup this evening, Jonathan?
Yes, the first of 2 Carabao Cup quarterfinals this evening is drawing to a close. I'm going to have to do a Chris Kamara here and just check. Yes, Tottenham leads Stoke by 3-1. Goals coming courtesy of Gareth Bale, Ben Davies and Harry Kane. Republic of Ireland international Matt Doherty returned to Spurs starting 11 alongside Bale and Dele Alli. There's also Irish interest in the Stoke City side with James McLean and Nathan Collins in action for them. And then later on at 8 o'clock, Everton welcome Manchester United to Goodison Park in the last Carabao Cup quarter-final. Everton will welcome back Republic of Ireland international Seamus Coleman to the starting 11 with Andre Gomez in for the injured Alan. Pickford has been replaced in goal by Robin Olsen. For Man United then, Dean Henderson starts in goal with Tuanzebe and Bailey coming into the defence. A midfield of Nemanja Matic, Paul Pogba, Donny van de Beek and Bruno Fernandes, and then a strike partnership of Mason Greenwood and Edinson Cavani. United last beat the Toffees at Goodison Park in November when Bruno Fernandes scored a brace for the side. Everton boss Carlo Ancelotti said pre-match that the Portuguese star would be a big part of their game plan.
If you leave space to him, we are dead. And so we have to avoid to leave him space, doing really well. He's a fantastic player. I think that he is the key point of United, and of course we have to take care of this.
Interesting game this one, Johnny. Everton in very good form, and Solskjaer post the Champions League exit was facing a brewing sense of discontent again. Then there was the Manchester derby, which was kind of a so-so break-even, neither of us want to lose job. And then they've had a very good week away to Sheffield United and obviously against Leeds. So he's kind of back okay, somewhere about even again.
It's just the whole Manchester United thing under Solskjaer, and obviously I'm on most Saturdays or whatever with Dan McDonald and John Dugan, but it's just like I'm just absolutely fed up of talking about it, because whatever you say one week, you're just completely contradicting yourself the following week. And I was saying on Saturday, I was like, they were kind of, the lads were kind of extolling like Jose Mourinho having the pep back in his step and all this. And I was like, well, they've had an all right season, but like, I wouldn't get carried away. But now they had a bad weekend. Man United have had a little bit of a fill-up, and Solskjaer had to field questions after the game about the title race. So it was like, this is just, I actually think Man United, I still think they're a very, very good side when they're on song. And Solskjaer, I just don't know what to make from at this stage. I don't think he's a tactical genius, but I don't think he's the worst manager in the world. And I feel that both of these teams probably do genuinely kind of want to win this competition, and maybe more so Everton. But I think it'd be a good game, actually. And Man United have... It wouldn't be amazing if they finished in the top 3 anyway this season, I think, the way they're going.
Yeah. I was trying to think, it clearly doesn't feel like it's always been so volatile. The conversation around a manager. I was, like 90s footballs when I, was a kid and getting into it. And obviously it was Alex Ferguson then. Because the Manchester United job is always going to have lots of talk about it. That's just the nature of the gig. So I guess with Ferguson, there was never a constant toing and froing as to whether he was the right man for the job. He was just so clearly the man in charge, and would be for as long as he wanted to be. So, I don't know, but it does feel like it's part of, I don't know, the expedited news cycle, kind of a situation, shorter attention spans, social media. I mean, Solskjaer literally goes every 3 to 4 days. The security of his job changes quite severely in the eyes of a lot of people, and that's just crazy. It's just bizarre. Like, it doesn't make sense.
I think he's maybe a bit like Stephen Kenny, in that Stephen Kenny has come in as part of kind of maybe a longer term project, and so is the thought process. But Stephen Kenny at Shamrock Rovers, Stephen Kenny and Pat Fenlon and Trevor Crawley were all basically deemed, if not failures, that didn't really work out at Shamrock Rovers. And eventually when Stephen Bradley came in, it was like, we want to give a manager a bit of time here. And I think Solskjaer has probably come into a situation where they are a little bit wary of another kind of knee-jerk reaction, and they've done okay. Obviously the Champions League was disappointing, but all in all in the league they haven't been too bad. And like, apart from Liverpool being a thoroughly outstanding side, basically a long way ahead of everyone else last season, there isn't an awful lot between the others. And in fairness to them, their form of late, the Manchester City game, whether you like it or not, it was a decent point to get, and they're not a bad side. I think the strange thing, the Pogba situation has probably been his biggest problem. I think if Pogba hadn't been in that squad, I think they might have more harmony, and I'm kind of speculating there. But it's just, I mean, Joe, how much of our lives do we spend debating sport in the most trivial of ways? When you look at it back in time and you say, God, we spent an awful lot of time on social media looking up Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Other things are happening, like.
They sure are. So, Jonathan, not Kieran Trippier's finest moment?
No, other soccer news. England international Kieran Trippier has been banned for 10 weeks for breaching betting rules. The Atletico Madrid player has been fined over €77,000 as a result. Trippier won't be able to participate in any football-related activity until February 28th, 2021. He denied the charges at a personal hearing in October, but the FA says that 4 of 7 alleged breaches had been proven.
Yeah, not a great move. I'm amazed they're still doing that when it's so clear it's against the rules. Sea swimming is a bit like any exercise. Part of the reward is the relief that it's over, the satisfaction that you've gone and done something other than picking your belly button fluff while slouching on the couch, says Killian. Andrew, this is on your sceptical talk. Trust Johnny to come up with a heartwarming story that ends in heartache. The horse is dead, Johnny. I can't take this kind of roller coaster of emotions. And,
yeah, probably for the year that was in it, actually. That's fair enough, yeah.
Yeah. Skeptical. It was like a Cinderella story. It's amazing, but he's dead. That's basically where we got with that one.
The vicissitudes of racing, I guess.
Your mystery voice is dead right about the turkey. Nothing worse than when mum or dad decide to get fancy and stray away from the traditional way of doing the turkey. Only ends in disaster, says Sean. I'm sorry to say, embarrassed to say, as someone whose mother puts on a sterling effort every year. All I know about turkeys is you have to leave them in the oven for a long time, it seems. That's where my expertise ends. And they can dry out very quickly.
I've gone for the goose this year, Joe, actually.
Is it a first-time goose?
Yeah, possibly so. Yeah, I think I honestly think turkey is like the blandest meat you could eat. It wouldn't be for me at all. Now, I think a lot of people seem to agree, but I guess it's tradition. So it's kind of an American fad, though, anyway, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know where the turkey thing comes from. Is it an American fad? I hadn't realised that.
I think it is.
It is a bit bland, but you throw in a bit of stuffing, a bit of gravy, a bit of ham. I think we're working then, aren't we, Johnny? What's goose? I don't think I had goose.
Goose is a lot more tender, and now the last time I had it was actually in a restaurant, so I'm not expecting that quality from myself. But it's just I just went into Ennis Butchers in Rialto. I asked him could he get me a goose, and he said big fans of the show actually.
Good.
And he said I've been absolutely inundated with goose requests this year. I had to put my name down on the list. Felt like I was part of some sort of a secretive group, and the goose. Duly arrived 3 days later, but had to bring it down to Galway today in the train. Right. So now I'm kind of wondering, will it be on the turn? That wouldn't be great, Joe, to be fair.
Not ideal. We'll find out on Friday.
Yeah, we will. Hopefully not by, getting sick afterwards.
So, Jonathan, Diego Maradona autopsy.
Yes, Diego Maradona's autopsy has revealed no signs of alcohol or narcotics consumption at the time of his death. The examination took place after the football legend died of a heart attack last month at the age of 60. The investigation was raised in order to see if there was any negligence in the healthcare Maradona was provided with.
Munster Under-20 hurling final is this evening.
Yes, indeed. Páirc Uí Chaoimh will play host to this evening's Munster Under-20 hurling final. Tipperary and Cork meet in the decider as the Premier looks to make it back-to-back All-Ireland titles. John Devan has named an unchanged Tipperary side from their semi-final win over Waterford. Cork has brought in Dara Flynn, Brian Hayes and Colin O'Brien into their starting 15. It's a repeat of last year's final, and throw-in is at 7:30.
Quite a few sea swimmers getting in touch, Johnny. One of them wondering if you're aware of the Wim Hof method to warm up afterwards, because you were talking about warm showers.
Yeah, I am. I'm well aware of the Wim Hof method. A mate of mine swears by it, but it's a bit too extreme for me, that now.
As in, you're a bit self-conscious doing it, are you?
Well, no, it's just the whole Wim Hof's method is, I don't know, it involves an awful lot of pain. Like having,
the warming up method afterwards is what the texter's talking about, because you were saying hot showers. You know the way, to warm yourself up quickly, Wim Hof style.
Then I'm not aware of that, and I am a shivering wreck after a season. I couldn't hold my hot whiskey today.
Well, let me give you this to try, right? And you look a little bit silly, but Wim Hof, it'll be on his website. I'm going to try and describe this because there's listeners as well as people watching. So
are you going to actually give us the whole
Yeah, I might do a little bit. I'll see. I mean,
this is when the visual aspect of it really comes into play.
So you get out. You're obviously cold. What you do is. You stand up. I'm not doing visual.
Come on,
Get
Joe.
that camera
Come
off.
on, you put out your hand and get slapped now.
So you kind of, you bend at the knees, right? So you bend at the knees almost like as if you're Eddie the Eagle kind of skiing. So you bend at the knees, and each time you do that, you push out your two hands, palms out, and you exhale. So you kind of go. And apparently that releases adrenaline and warms you up very, very quickly. You'd be warm in no time. So I like a bit of sea swimming. I've cold showers. So,
all the time?
Yeah, I'd say 5 days out of 7 I'll have a cold shower, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Jonathan is just in the corner there, and he's just wondering, what sort of madness have I got myself in for here?
Listen. Did I explain that well enough, do you think, for the listeners?
I think it's going to go viral, to be honest.
All right. Where are we? Darts.
New section of the show, Joe, like doing some sort of physical exercise and the camera got up and down.
Very erotic. So
erratic,
darts.
Anyway.
Yeah. Darts is on.
Yeah, the red lights after coming on my laptop, so I'll plough through this. Darts. Tyrone man Mickey Mansell bowed out of the PDC World Darts Championship earlier. He lost out to Englishman Ricky Evans by 3-1. In other games, world number 8 Dave Chisnell beat fellow Englishman Keegan Brown. Gary Anderson progressed in the tournament earlier as well with a win over Latvian Madars Razma.
Okay, Jonathan Byrne, thank you for that. Johnny Ward, have a great Christmas, my man. Enjoy that goose. I'll be keeping an eye on social media. I want to see how it's looking.
Yeah, happy Christmas to both you lads and all our listeners.
Good man. We're taking a short break, and then Andy Mitten, editor of United We Stand, is going to join us from Goodison Park.
The News Round on Off the Ball.
With Gillette, we don't just play the game, we change it. Gillette, made of what matters.
Bet smart this season with stat betting on the Boyle Sports app. For the first time ever, bet on shots, shots on target, tackles, passes, assists and more, all powered by Opta. Why not check out the hottest action on the biggest game of the week right now on the Boyle Sports app? Boyle Sports. This is betting. Need help? Contact gamblingcare.ie. 18+.
At Centra, we have everything you need for an inspiring Christmas. Delicious buttery short crust pastry mince pies, rich and velvety Belgian chocolate sponge pudding, and deliciously creamy goat's cheese bruschetta with red onion marmalade. So why not treat yourself to our award-winning Inspired by Centra range? Centra. Live every day.
When eating out this Christmas, be reassured that restaurants, gastropubs and hotels will keep their premises safe and hygienic. Staff will wear face masks at all times and be fully trained on prevention measures. But it's also important that you play your part. Remember to always sanitize your hands when entering or leaving the building. Always wear your face mask when moving around, and one person from your group must provide details for contact tracing. Let's take care together and stay safe this Christmas. A message from Fáilte Ireland, the HSE and the Government of Ireland.